I'm Rob Baldock from Re Live Recordings. We're here at Splendour Festival in Nottingham this weekend. I'm going to take you through the process of doing a multi-track recording of a live show. I set up Re Live about 10 years ago or so now to create live multi-track recordings of concerts and live events. And we've recorded live events from Chase and Status, One Direction, Emily Sandé, people like that. So this is my 5th year recording at Splendour. Started off with Jake Bugg headlining the main stage 5 years ago, and since then we've recorded bands like Jess Glynn was last year, The Specials was the year before that, and Tom Odell was the year before that. So I suppose the main difference between recording a live event and a recording studio is that all of my equipment has to be portable and has to be able to be set up very quickly in sometimes very confined spaces. But my intention and my aim is to get a full studio quality recording from live events, and that's why I use the equipment that I use. We're here on the first day setting up, and the main festival kicks off tomorrow. So I thought I'd take on a little bit of a stage tour, just have a look around and see what's what. So effectively all of the signals from the main stage go over to the stage patch, which is over here. Take a wander over that way. This is the main stage setup here, so every single microphone that appears on stage comes through to the inputs over here, and at this point the signal is split between front of house position out there for mixing for the audience, for the monitor section over here to mix for the band on the stage, and then I also get a feed through to the recording from here as well. We all have complete independent control over our gain settings for the recording, for the front of house and for monitors, and we're all completely isolated from each other.
Yeah, very good point.
So this is the recording rig based around 48 channels of Audient ASP A80s. I've got rack A and rack B. So rack A here goes through to the first RME Fireface. Rack B goes through to the second RME Fireface. These two devices are clocked together, and then you can actually feed them into a MacBook, and you can set up what's known as an aggregate sound device, where both devices act as one single device. So that gives me up to 52 channels of recording into Reaper, and I use Reaper as a recording device just because of its reliability, the fact you can record to 2 drives at the same time, and it's never crashed on me yet. I chose the Audient Preamps purely because of the sound more than anything else really. They sound really, really clean, even at really high gain settings. And I have all Audient Pre's so that I know that every single channel is the same wherever I go, whatever microphone I'm putting through it. The main challenges we face with live recordings is the sheer amount of noise coming off the stage. So obviously it's a big stage, but with a lot of noise going on, there's a lot of bleed on all the microphones and things. So we don't get the isolation that you would get in a studio recording. So there's the challenges for mixing there. And also obviously there's a chance for something to go wrong. We don't get a chance to have a second take at things. So my whole system is set up with redundancy and set up for reliability really, so that we hopefully don't lose anything.
31, 31.
So initially we'll always do a line check, which is just a case of checking that every single channel is working and is clean and free from any crackles, and that all the signals are going to the right destination. In the morning we'll do a sound check with the band, whereby the musicians are actually on stage, and we'll check for signal level from everything from the kick drum, the snare drum, all the toms, through to the guitars, the bass, the vocals, etc, etc. During the actual show itself, I will just be watching and keeping an eye on the gain settings while we're recording. And then during the changeover, we'll get another quick line check through each of the individual instruments, and I can set my gains again accordingly, and then we go for another record, and we do the same thing, flip-flopping right throughout the day. After this process is done, I then take the recordings back to my studio to mix. In the case of Splendour Festival, we are mixing for a TV channel called Knots TV. I'll be mixing certain songs by particular artists for the TV shows. When you have loads of spill to deal with in a mix, in a live situation, you just have to kind of go with it. If you try and cut everything out too much with gates, it just starts to sound too unnatural. For a very long time, I struggled with getting the vocals to be nice and clear over the background of a band, and no amount of compression was solving the problem on the vocals. So actually, I kind of reversed the way I mix things now. I tend to start with the level of the vocals and match the band to match the level of the vocals. Because if you start trying to compress the vocals too much, you just get too much bleed coming through. It becomes impossible to get everything to balance up nicely. That's the main issue really, and phase cancellation between microphones. So many microphones live on the stage at any particular time that phase can sometimes be an issue. I use a plugin called Auto Align by a company called Sound Radix, and it's amazing for phase aligning microphones together. You effectively give it 2 signals and it aligns them in phase in time. So if anyone was to ask me what advice I'd give to someone who wanted to get into doing this kind of thing, I personally studied music technology at a place called Confetti in Nottingham. That's where I sort of learned a lot of the basics of studio engineering before deciding I'd get into doing the live aspect of it and the live recording side of things. So that was a good grounding for me, learning the basics of music technology. Just going to local gigs, trying to hook up with bands and things to record. You have to invest in your gear. Make sure you've got some really good reliable kit, because if your equipment goes down, people aren't going to want you to be recording their stuff. And also just be easy to work with. Make sure you get along with people, be nice, be friendly, and you'll do fine. I'm Rob from Re Live Recordings. I hope this video has been useful for you to see what goes into doing a live recording from a main stage at a festival.
I've just been watching